We've got ourselves another ketone conversation going down.
Take it easy now.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex.
Come on.
Let's talk about sex.
Do it.
Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex.
Ladies, all the ladies, louder now, help me out. Come on, all the ladies. Let's talk about sex. All
Oh, you guys, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Where are my girls? Sound out with me. Come on and be with me. That just cracks me up.
That was
It
awesome.
cracks me up. It's so much fun because, we've been talking about trying to like up our game a little bit. And I thought, you know what? Why not try it with this one? Let's get a little tunage going on. So great fun. So welcome everybody. It is Sunday, fun day, Sunday night Facebook Live with Team Awesome. For those of you that are new, I'm Kirsten. I've got Erica and Jen and Chrissy with me. And each week we're spending time together answering the questions that we are asked as promoters and as users of ketone products, specifically the Prove It ketones. So it's really kind of a funny thing for me, this idea of sex and why are we talking about sex? Like, really, is somebody asked you about how this impacts sex? It's not so much that someone asked me once, but it caught me off guard when a really good friend of mine was on her 10-day challenge, whatever it was, she'd been using for several days. And I called her up to say, hey, how's it going? And she says, I can't tell you, the kids are here. And I'm like, she's like really a good friend. I'm like, what do you mean you can't tell me? I said, go to your bedroom and tell me. So she, struggles up and I said, what is going on? Are you okay? And she goes, my sex drive, it's back. She's like, I don't know what's in this stuff, but I just like grabbed my husband by the collar and dragged him up the stairs. He's like, what's going on? He couldn't be happier. She's like, it's been a long time. And it caught me off guard because I was like, it hadn't occurred to me that energy, mood, all those things would also impact one's desire to do the hoochie coochie with the one they love the most, right? So I was telling the girls this story, and as it turns out this week, our doctor who knows lots about the power of ketosis, she does a lot with ketogenic diets as well as with ketosis through exogenous ketones like the ones that we use. It just so happened that was her topic for the week, and I'm like, now is the time. Ladies, this is the topic. So I want us to spend the next few minutes listening to Dr. Heather. What she's talking about is the power of, or the impact of an improved libido on a ketogenic diet. And so I think it's important for us because the science that's there makes sense for us, and it helps us explain why we, when we're drinking ketones and going into ketosis, may feel a little feel. So give us, let's see what Dr. Heather has for us.
I do get a lot of messages about why do I feel so much more in the mood when I'm in ketosis or when I cut out refined sugars. We know that sugar causes sugar blues. There's a whole bunch of books wrote about that. We talk about children with ADHD and we pull out the sugars and the processed sugars and the food colorings and how much that does in the mood and the brain. I just listened to Dr. Ken Smith on the Charlie Foundation page. He's a neurosurgeon who said, the ketogenic diet is much more than seizure control. It controls overall health. And when you can start controlling obesity and hypertension, and when you can start really giving people a better quality of life, your body gets into that natural phase of homeostasis where you feel better. It's a natural part of life as, a married couple or a partner or someone who's 20 years or older to have a natural sex drive, to have a natural cycle as a female, or a male should have natural androgen and should have that natural cycle as you start to age. It shouldn't be going through that stage of life when you're 40. We hear that all the time. And again, this is called andropause. So I know someone's already messaging me about that. Did I make that word up? No, I did not make that word up. It is called andropause. So as you go through transitioning to more of a low carb ketogenic diet. It won't happen maybe the first month or so, but maybe after 6 months or maybe after 8 months, your hair may not gray as fast anymore. You may be seeing changes on your nail beds, maybe growing faster. You're getting gray marks before. That's zinc deficiency. They're not getting gray as fast, but you start to notice that as you eat healthier, that your hair may be growing faster. Maybe you're getting curls back in your hair. All that stuff should really start being much more prevalent. Like, oh my gosh, my hair is changing colors now. That's all very normal, because that's, again, the anti-aging process. But things that can fast forward the aging process or cause that oxidative process, to cause your body to fast forward that aging process. When you think of someone who ages, someone who's in their 80s, my mom's just turned 80, so I'll talk about 80, they naturally would have gray hair. They would not be having cycles if they're a female. If they're a male, they would not be having an increase of libido. It would be actually slowing down, that things would be getting harder to do. That would be normal and natural. They might be having increased trips to the restroom if they're a male or a female. That all would be normal. Where we hear people now who are in their 60s, who are on a ketogenic diet, or 70s, they're able to have a really healthy bladder, not having to run and have urgency and frequency because they're getting more muscle tone, because that's what the ketogenic diet does. It gives you better pelvic muscle tone. With that being said, when you're in ketosis and you have better energy, you're losing unwanted fat, and now you have energy to work out better. We know that exercise increases blood flow to the pelvic area. We know that when you can increase blood flow to the pelvic area, it increases your libido. The more that you actually help with your chest and do push-ups and do lats and do backs and bis and tris, we know that also increases blood flow to your chest area. And we know that your areolas, male and female, are highly sensitive areas. So the more that you can get that in shape, the more it's going to increase your libido. So there's so many wins when you get that. And again, we know that so many aspects of brain and cognition for the ketogenic diet, whether it's stopping seizures, it's helping with memory, it's helping with recall up to 38%. You're getting more oxygen to the brain. So we're getting better signaling to the brain is signaling not only the brain from the hypothalamus to the pituitary, not only to the thyroid, but also to the gonads and the rest of the body. So you're getting better cycling, better talking, better signaling, better communication, which means everything works better in cycle. It's so fun to see the stories that people are sharing, but this has been a hot topic I've been really nervous to talk about. I do have a good friend who's an OB-GYN. I'm like telling her, like, can you talk about that for me? And so she's like just been super busy, but just wanted to like that very simple, that this ketogasm topic is a real topic, that people just feel better because their nervous system is more in balance. Their brain is talking to each other, the major organs, to your kidneys, to your heart, to your adrenal glands, to your gonads. Everything's talking better. And when you're in a better physical condition, your BMI is better, some fat pounds have fallen off, you're getting stronger, you're sleeping better, your digestive system is better, there's no surprises. It makes sense that you're going to feel better about yourself. Everything that you do, whether you're going to walk taller, stand taller, talk better, you're going to enjoy cooking better, everything that you do is just going to be better.
Just going to be better. I love that she called it a ketogasm. Can I just say that? I love it. We have a new word, ladies. Ketogasm.
What is that too? Oh my gosh.
It's awesome. And we've always talked about all of the benefits, and when people say, well, what can I expect? And it's like, well, you know what? The more people that try it, the more people that I ask that question to, the more diversity in the responses I get. And this is something that was new for me. And Kirsten, of course, you tagged me right away, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And it makes sense, because when we're in a better mood, we make better decisions, all of those things fall into place. But this is a whole nother really important topic. And so I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to do this. So, okay, Kirsten, let's go back to your very good friend, probably now a lifelong customer. How does this apply? How does this apply?
When I think about why, how does it connect? How does what happened to my customer, my friend, connect to what Heather just said? And I think the key for my friend, knowing my friend, who's a mother of 4 teenagers, who is, there's so busy and in the middle of her life. I mean, this is a woman who's had all kinds of challenges with her systems, right? And so she's had a hysterectomy. I mean, there's all kinds of things working against her and her libido and her sex drive, right? All kinds of things, just like I think it is. It's the mood, it's the energy, it's the feeling better. And the thing that I appreciated about, or the little bit that I zipped out, wrote down as I was listening with you, having watched it now several times this week, the idea of just an overall better quality of life. It's an overall better quality of life. And when we feel better, when our mind is talking to our body, when everything's is synchronous and is working together, those feel goods have to blend or have to bleed over into all parts of our life, including that. So it's just kind of a fun extra. So yeah. Any other thoughts?
Well, it was very informative. Like for myself, I'm watching this and I've heard you talk about your customer, Jen, and I'm watching this again. And again, there's just so much information that I'm grabbing new information from it, right? Because it's just like Dr. Heather just talks so much and it's very useful information. We do have a question. Somebody sent me a message and they wanted to know, so I'm going to put this out. Is this something that you drink at night before,
It's about the overall stages. I am not going to publicly say that your gnat is an aphrodisiac. I'm not going to say it. It's just not. I can't say that. What I do want to say is that in ketosis, either on a ketogenic diet or when we're in a state of ketosis, we're consistently there, we're burning fat, we're feeling good, our minds are optimal. I mean, sex is not just about our parts. I mean, there's an emotional connection there. It's part of thought as well. So when all those things are clicking, this was something that someone experienced, and I've heard of others who've experienced it. And of course, there's no sure information here, people. I can't make any claims. We're just sharing people's stories. But there is some science behind it, and it makes sense to me. So great question.
There's another one.
Woo-hoo!
Okay, so one more question if we have time. So they're asking about the sugar. So when you are in ketosis, and we all know this, right? If you have carbs, if you have sugar, it takes you out of it, right? So they were asking if they ate the sugar, would it affect their libido right away? And again, we're not doctors, and it's a question, so I'm just kind of putting this out there, right?
Again, we're not saying that this is a product that if you drink it, you're going to experience an increase in sex drive. I think that's not the message. I think that what we hear Heather say is that when you have your body in this mode and you're consistently in this mode and you're feeling better and your life is better and you're being kinder to yourself, that this is something that you may experience. So by no means, God, would that be great if I could say that? Hey, by the way, man, we'd be talk about. Business would explode. Yeah. So does that make sense, Erica? Does that feel like a?
Yeah, well, I was just going to add to that response because if I because I hear the question maybe a little bit differently. So the whole concept of ketosis is that it burns fat for fuel, so it bypasses the glucose, right? So with this product that we're consuming, or if you're having sugar, then you're not on a strict ketogenic diet. So if you're looking to say, okay, right, so this actually will, within an hour, put you in a natural state of ketosis, which will, and that's why we say it's a biohack. So it will actually help you burn fat first before glucose. So depending on the question and the person asking the question and their background knowledge on it, I guess there's kind of some potential truth to that, in that it is, in a sense, going to bypass burning sugar for fuel, and it's going to go straight to fat. So I'm not sure if it's hard with the live to do that, but I don't know if that adds value to the answer there or not.
Yeah, it clarified. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, we're just, we can't make these claims. We love to share each other's stories. And I've been itching to share this story of my friend, because it was just so great. I think I don't know if I don't think I said this at the beginning, but in my life outside of this world, I am a professor, and I teach in the sociology department, and human sexuality is my specialty. And so I teach students, college students, later in high school, college, and then non-traditional students all the way through their, heck, we have got college students in their 50s and even 60s. And so this is a topic in the space that I'm very comfortable in, and I'm in on a lot. And so when I said to Erica, this is what so-and-so said, can we talk about that? She was like, oh, I said, there's science. I promise you there's science. So anyway, yeah, that's anything else, Jen, in the list?
No, that was it so far.
All righty.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Well, like you just said, you are a professor of sexuality, sociology. I want to know what else what else can we bring to this conversation, and just pick your brain when we have this chance.
Ooh, you like, let's talk about sex. No, here's the deal. I think I would say the things to this audience that I would say to my students. When it comes to a healthy sex life, communication with your partner, trust with your partner, having, I tell my students, as I say, look, if you trust them enough to go to bed with them, you should trust them enough to be able to like have these conversations with them, right? But telling your partner what you need, expressing and asking your partner what they need, communicating with one another. I think, there's a lot of, I think it's clear because we all went, ooh, you sure you want to talk about this topic? There's this, as a society, we are not all that into talking about sex. It's kind of this taboo-y kind of deal. And that goes all the way into our bedrooms. We take that shame and that taboo all the way into our relationships. And so communicate, trust one another. And what I wish for you, my keto friends, is ketogasms and a better quality of life. Okay. And I hope that you have it into your old age. That's what my students are all like, I don't like to think about old people having sex. And I say, don't you want to be an older person who is happy in that way too? So when I listen to Heather talk about those aging and, I don't want to be done in my 40s. We're just getting started. So anyway, I think that's all we're going to say. May ketogasms abound. Drink your ketones. Continue to work at being a better you. Thanks for joining us in this crazy ride. Who knows what we're going to talk about next week?
Thank you. Next week, everybody.
Bye.